Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is the Raptor, and we're finally putting out a Q&A quickly this time. This week was actually supposed to be the week where I uploaded the schedule video for Season 11 of Who, When, and Why, but I've decided to push that back a couple weeks and make the Q&A video this week, because it just worked out better with my timing to make the Q&A this week and the schedule video a little later. But rest assured that that video is coming, but for the time being, we have this one to watch, so that's pretty cool. So without further ado, here it is, the Raptor Q&A number 11. Let's go. Blake Peters asks, who are your favorite authors? The two authors that immediately come to mind for me are Rick Riordan, who wrote the Percy Jackson books and the Magnus Chase books, etc., and James Patterson, who's written a ton of amazing books. If you're looking for an answer that's a little more scholarly or, I guess, sophisticated, then Margaret Atwood and George Orwell are also really great authors. What do you think of the fight Guts versus Dante? I think that would definitely be an interesting fight. I know that they don't have a lot in common in terms of powers or abilities or anything like that, but I still think it would be a really interesting fight to watch, just an amazing fight to see play out, and it's funny because they're both reckless, but in their own respective ways, so I think that's a really cool dynamic. Ultimately, I do think that Dante would win, however, the Berserker armor that Guts has would definitely prove to be a challenge for him once it came out, so yeah, I think it'd be a really cool fight to see. Do you have Pokemon Go, and if so, can we be friends? I unfortunately do not have Pokemon Go, but thank you so much for asking, I really appreciate it. Red Elastic 98 asks, what is one movie or game that you like or hate that everyone else hates or likes? I'll try to give one of each for movies because I watch a lot of movies. For one movie that I like that everyone else hates, I would say The Karate Kid Part 3. A lot of people say that it's like the weakest of the original 3 Karate Kid movies, but I actually really enjoyed it. For me, I personally liked it more than Part 2, but that's just me, that's just my opinion. I just think that Daniel and Miyagi's relationship is the strongest in that movie that it's ever been, and yeah, I just really eat that stuff up, so I really enjoyed the third part. And for one movie that I hate that everyone else likes, I wouldn't say that I hate this movie, but I really didn't enjoy the Lego Movie, the second part. If you enjoyed it, that's great, I'm really happy you were able to enjoy it. For me, it was the first kids movie that I really felt like, wow, this is just kind of dumb. I don't know, for me it just felt dumber than the Lego Batman movie and the first Lego movie. It tired me out, honestly, I just didn't enjoy it too much. But again, if you enjoyed it, that's great, and you have the right to your opinion. What is your favorite and least favorite season of Death Battle? Death Battle Season 2 holds a really special place in my heart, because that was the season that was happening when I got into Death Battle, so I was able to get excited for a lot of those Season 2 fights early on. So for me, I think that holds a special place in my heart, but I think overall I really like Season 5. I don't know why, it's just I think it has the least amount of individual problems for me personally. So Season 2 and 5 are definitely my favorites. My least favorite would probably have to be Season 3. I'm not even saying it's a bad season, there were definitely some good fights in that one. I don't know, I just think it had a lot of individual problems that really added up after a while, and I look back at it now and I'm thinking like, yeah, that wasn't really the best season. Again, I still think it was okay, but it just wasn't my favorite in regard, or in comparison to the other ones. What do you like doing in your free time? Well, obviously I like to make videos in my free time, but I also like to do a lot of other things. I like to watch a lot of movies nowadays, I like to play video games, particularly Smash Brothers, I like to hang out with my friends as much as I can, and when I get the chance to, I also like to act, and I like to be a live radio show host. The reason why I say sometimes is because I've done these things before, but I don't get to do them all the time. I acted a lot in high school, that's kind of fizzled out now, but you know, I hope to get back into it soon, and when it comes to live radio show, my brother and I actually had a live radio show at our university during our first year, so that was really awesome. So I don't get to do those things all the time, but yeah, all those things collectively are what I like to do in my free time most of the time. Simon O'Brien asks, have you ever seen any My Hero Academia episodes? No, I haven't seen any episodes, but I've heard from so many people that it's such a good show, so I don't know, if I ever got the time, I may have to change that. Who do you think would win between George Hancock and Ibarra? I really don't know anything about the characters, but if I had to pick, I'd probably say Ibarra for the win. Do you believe that there are huge monsters at the bottom of the ocean, like a Megalodon or a 100-foot-long squid? If they do exist down there, they're definitely doing a good job of hiding. I probably don't have any evidence to say that they do exist, but honestly, with all the craziness that's been going on in the world, I wouldn't be surprised at this point if they do exist. Bcasted147 asks, if you could sum up 2020 so far in one word, what would it be? I'd probably say chaotic. I might be able to think of a better word later, but honestly, this just feels like the most out of order that the world has ever been, or at least in a very long time, so I think for right now, chaotic is the right word that I would use to sum up 2020. Cody Lane the Dragon asks, other than Detective Pikachu, how'd you feel if a Pokemon movie and TV show were both cartoon and anime combined? I'm not too invested in Pokemon at all, so it really wouldn't matter too much to me, but honestly, if we did get to see more things like Detective Pikachu, or just more cool things with Pokemon, then yeah, I wouldn't mind it happening, definitely. Which DC characters would you give the Infinity Stones to? I'd give the Power Stone to Darkseid, because, you know, he's Darkseid. I'd give the Mind Stone to Deathstroke, being able to use his brain 9 times better than any human. And when it comes to space and time, those stones, both make up speed, like space divided by time. So I would give the Space Stone to Flash, since he, runs around through space, and I'd give the Time Stone to Reverse Flash, because I believe his powers more so focus around manipulating time, or at least more so than the Flash's powers. So I kind of cheat there a little bit, but yeah, I'd give the Space Stone to Flash, the Time Stone to Reverse Flash, I'd give the Soul Stone to Lobo, because his soul is untouchable by, traditional death means, and I would give the Reality Stone to Dr. Manhattan, because at this point, reality is Dr. Manhattan's bitch. What did you think of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie? Honestly, I enjoyed that movie far more than I expected that I would. For me, it did something really unique and really interesting with the Sonic the Hedgehog character, while still staying very true to the Sonic the Hedgehog character. For me, it was just really fun. I'd say it was more fun than funny, but I still really enjoyed it nonetheless, and I wouldn't mind seeing more of it. It really blew me away, because I had my expectations really low, and not to say it was a masterpiece or anything like that, but I honestly had a really fun time watching it. Fiction Rumble asks, due to the coronavirus, what are you going to do? Honestly, I'm probably just gonna do what everyone else is doing. I'm gonna, stay home as often as I can, distance myself from people, wash my hands as often as I can, etc., etc. And I also have to do schoolwork, because university is doing these things online now, which makes sense, but I would still rather be doing other things. So yeah, I'll try not to go crazy by just doing work at home all the time. What are you going to do on spring break? Now that I've moved to university, there really isn't a spring break per se. There's more so just reading week, and reading week actually already happened. That was all the way back in February, and during that time all I did was study, relax, those kinds of things. But because there was no spring break for us to take a vacation, we did go on vacation during Christmas time, and we went to Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic, so that was really fun. That was a really relaxing time. What are you going to do on summer vacation? I'm not even sure that I know what we're going to be doing on summer vacation. I don't think there are any concrete plans yet, but whatever we do, and I'm sure we'll do something, I'm sure it's going to be a great vacation like all of them are. Tristan Waits asks, who would win, War Machine or Metal Sonic? I would probably have to go with War Machine for that one. I think he's more powerful, I think he's probably tougher, and just based on what they've shown respectively, without any scaling or anything like that, I think he'd also be faster. I think the best case you can make for Metal Sonic in terms of speed and winning the fight in general is by directly scaling him to Sonic and saying that he can do everything Sonic can do, which I don't even think is really too fair at this point. That's just my opinion though. And Metal Overlord would probably prove to be a challenge for War Machine, but I still think that War Machine has the power to put him down still. So yeah, that's just my opinion. I think War Machine would win. Do you like ramen noodles? Honestly, I'm not even sure if I've ever had ramen noodles. If I had, it would have been a long time ago and I don't really remember. But yeah, I guess they're worth trying. If Naruto likes them, maybe I'll like them. Who's your favorite anti-hero? I know there are a lot of anti-heroes out there, but for me, it's gotta be Deadpool. I just love the concept of this character, breaking the fourth wall, really just being crazy all the time, doing whatever the heck he wants with such a free spirit. And even in terms of all the Marvel heroes, he's not even that high up there. He's actually not really one of my favorites in terms of Marvel heroes, but in terms of just anti-heroes in general, I think he's just one of the best. So for me, I gotta go with Deadpool. Shadow Critius asks, have you ever thought about bringing in some anime characters to your Who, When, and Why series in the future? The reason why I've stayed away from anime characters on the show so far is because I'm really not too familiar with them, and I like to have at least some level of familiarity with the characters before I start to research them and before I start to, actually analyze them. But if I did hear a really cool fight that involved anime characters and I did have some information about them, then sure, yeah, I'd probably do it. They're definitely not off the table. But yeah, for right now, I just haven't really heard anything like that, so that's really why they haven't shown up. Who would win, Elektra versus Blade, and why? I would probably have to say Blade would win that fight. I know that they're both amazing martial artists, and I think that Elektra might even be a better hand-to-hand combatant than Blade is, but ultimately, I think that Blade's vampire powers would just prove too much for Elektra to handle. I think he's stronger, faster, and more durable by quite a margin, even though Elektra's no slouch. And even though I think that Blade's arsenal is more geared towards vampires, I still think it would be effective against, a more so regular human like Elektra is. So overall, I think Blade would just be too overwhelming, but I don't think Elektra's outclassed by any means. I just think Blade would win more often than not. Elijah Walker asks, would you rather raise a pet dragon from the day it hatches, or have the power to transform into a dragon and back whenever you want? I think this is really the question of would you rather raise a dragon, or have a dragon, I guess, or be a dragon? Would you rather have one or be one? And normally I would say I would rather have one, because I'd rather have, a pet, grow a bond with the dragon and everything like that. I think that'd be really awesome. But ultimately, I think that the risks of having a pet dragon would just be too massive. If you have a pet and they mess up or something, it's not the end of the world. But if a dragon messes up, he could, burn down the house, or, eat one of my friends or something, And I definitely wouldn't want that. So I think both are awesome. awesome, but I think I'd have to choose to transform into a dragon just because I think it's the safer bet, but that's just me. What are your top 5 favorite death battle tracks? In no particular order, I have to say Emerald Heroes from Ben 10 vs. Green Lantern, What's Up Danger from Miles Morales vs. Static, 100% from Mob vs. Tatsumaki, Chorus of Carnage from Carnage vs. Lucy, and One Winged Devil from Sephiroth vs. Virgil. If you were given an Iron Man suit, what colors would it be? What metals would it be composed of? And what abilities would it have to make it stand out? The colors I would choose would be green and black. I just really like those colors together, and I think it would look really cool in an Iron Man suit if they were vibrant enough. In terms of metals, I would probably go with titanium and Antarctic vibranium, just have those two metals together. And for its special properties, I think I would have the Antarctic vibranium parts like shredded or serrated and stuff like that, like all around the armor. So it's like, you know, because obviously, you know, when you use Antarctic vibranium as a weapon, it can like weaken a target's molecular bonds, which I think would be really cool to have. But I also just like the idea of like Iron Man like having like a ton of like spikes or like, you know, like not claws, but like a ton of like sharpened points, just to make it really cool from a distance and up close, like just have the most effectiveness up close and from a distance. So that's probably what I would say I would give my Iron Man suit. Frank B asks, who would win in a battle royale? Batman, Spider-Man, Mario, Leonardo, Johnny Cage, or Sasuke? I would definitely have to say Sasuke for the win on that one. I think he's just more powerful, faster, and more durable by quite a margin compared to the other characters. And he's definitely not the smartest character of that group, but I still think that he's just too physically over the top for the other characters to handle. Who wins, Miles Morales or Gaslight Batman? I'd have to say Miles. I think he's just, again, stronger, more durable, faster, and I think he probably has just better electric powers, or more powerful electric powers. Gaslight Batman might be smarter, but ultimately I don't think it'd be enough to counter everything Miles has. Are you thinking about adding Carnage versus Shredder to who'd win and why? As of right now, the schedule video isn't out yet, and I definitely don't want to give any spoilers for the fights in that video, but yeah, it will be up in 2 weeks, and I do appreciate the enthusiasm, but right now I just don't want to give anything away. Lucas Green asks, who should be the next big villain in the MCU, Doctor Doom or Galactus? For me, I really think you need both of these characters in the MCU, both Doctor Doom and Galactus. I think that Doctor Doom is one of those characters that you can't just use once, you really need to keep bringing him back and having him fight a variety of different heroes. So for me, Doctor Doom should be like the new Loki of the MCU, and then you can have Galactus who will be like the new Thanos of the MCU, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to bring Galactus back too many times. So I think that Galactus should be like the next really big villain, but Doctor Doom should definitely still be there. He'll be like the fan favorite, you know, he'll be like the Loki type character of the MCU nowadays. Do you think the DCEU should redo Batman and Superman now that they've gotten better with their movies? I think the DCEU is kind of screwed with Batman and Superman because now they've built up this universe with so many other characters like Shazam and Wonder Woman, and now it seems really weird to try to reboot those characters because of this bigger universe. Like, you can recast them, sure, but you can't just reset Batman and Superman with keeping everything else the same, you know? It doesn't work like that. So I think the DCEU is kind of screwed there. In terms of what they should do with Batman and Superman, though, I think they should do something similar with what Matt Reeves is doing with Batman, and do something similar with Superman, where they kind of give them their own solo adventures with rebooting them, so they're kind of like not going to be in the DCEU anymore, and they're more so going to be like with their own solo adventures, which is the way it used to be before they started making a cinematic universe, which is really weird. But honestly, I think that's the best move for them to do at this point, because, you know, they're not doing too well in the DCEU. What lantern ring would you and your other family members have? I think the ring I'd probably have would be Compassion, like the Indigo Ring of Compassion. I think I just don't really fit too well into the other ones. I think if this was asked like years ago, I would have said Greed, because I was a greedy child, but not really anymore. I think I have a good time controlling my rage. I think I'm a pretty pessimistic person, at least that's what people tell me in real life, so I'm definitely not Hope. And in terms of fear, I do sometimes feel like fear controls my life, but I don't think that really fits in the same way, or it doesn't translate too well to the yellow ring. And I guess I could fit for Will, but I think that Compassion fits me better. And when it comes to my family members, I think I would also give my mom the Compassion ring, I'd give my dad the Green Lantern Will ring, and I'd probably give my brother the Red Ring of Rage. That's just me. And that's it, guys. We are finished with the Q&A. Thank you all so much for asking your questions. I really do appreciate it. And if you guys could give this video a huge like, I always appreciate the like. That'd be awesome. You know, leave in the comments down below anything you want to say. And if you could subscribe to my channel, that'd be so great. That would really help my channel out. But no matter what you do, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. That's it for me. I will see all of you guys in the next video. Peace out.